And Ian from Foraging Vintners has just entered the studio with a cool box, which can mean only one thing. Ian, please tell me you've brought something exciting with you.
Hello, yes, we've got our, it's our newest release sparkling wine. It's an apple wine. We're calling it Benvari, which is Lady of the Sea, or Mermaid. And on the front, there's a mermaid reaching up to an apple tree. It goes back to an old Manx tale about a fisherman who befriends a mermaid. He goes fishing. He brings her apples. She shows him where the fish are. And then he goes away, and she's missing her apples, and she was singing for apples one day, and he decided that he would plant her an apple tree by the sea.
Wow. Great story. So where did that come from? Was that something you'd seen yourself, or someone?
It was just doing some research, and we came across it, and we thought it would be a great match for the apple wine.
Perfect.
Yeah. So when you've got the idea for the name like that, how do you go about, coming up with the idea for the actual wine itself? I mean, how much tasting is involved?
Oh, a lot. There's a lot of R&D. We go through quite a few. The whole idea of what we do at Foraging Vintners is we're trying to use alternative ingredients to grapes. Some work a lot better than others. But the apple has come up really well. We're really happy with it. It's my personal favourite at the moment. We love it.
And how do you, so again, people, I'm sure there are some amateur winemakers on the island as well, but how do you get the fizz? Is that something you have to put in afterwards, or is that natural fermentation which gives it its sparkle?
Exactly. So we do, it's called full method traditional champenoise, or the champagne method. So we do a secondary bottle conditioning, or a secondary bottle ferment. And what that means is all the bubbles get trapped inside the wine as it goes through that secondary fermentation. But unfortunately, the side product of that is a lot of sediment. If you've had Dad's homebrew and you pour out the last little bit, there's a bit of sludge that comes out. The big part of method traditional is getting rid of that sludge. So we've got something called a gyro pallet. It shakes all the bottles around, and it brings all the sediment down to the bottle ends up upside down. It's sitting on the crown cap on the top at that stage. There's no cork in it yet. And that little piece of sediment goes into a glycol bath at minus 25 degrees. That freezes the neck, and then we get sort of a sludge plug. When we take the cap off, that shoots out and it pulls all the sludge out of the wine, and then we end up with crystal clear sparkling wine. And then from there we have to cork it and muzzle it.
Muzzle it. Oh, that's a technical term.
Yeah.
Ian, you have got a bottle there.
Yes.
Would we be able to have a little taste, maybe?
Absolutely.
We're going to open this live on air. I'm quite excited. Is the
It
cork going to fly off?
I'll aim it away from everyone.
Okay, well, that'd probably be best.
Great.
It reverberates around and knocks me out. H.
Well, I'm standing by just in case. I'll whip over the other side.
Here we go.
Over.
Oh, good
It's
noise.
the noise of Christmas, isn't it? It's the noise
it
of
really
Christmas.
is, yeah. And so are you a wine fan generally then, Ian? Is it something that you've been interested in?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously love wines, but I actually love making them even more.
Thank you.
The real passion is in making them and making something that might normally be discarded or sort of assumed that you can't make wine out of it. The sort of philosophy of the winery is that we sort of make what we can out of what we've got locally, and sort of the highest quality local product we can get.
You can almost hear the bubbles.
We can.
Yeah. So what's would be the difference between, people might obviously have had to say a sparkling cider. What would be the difference between a cider, obviously made from apples, and a sparkling apple wine?
It starts the same, and in fact, to get a better depth of flavour, we've actually done a wild ferment for the first sort of 25% of the ferment. And that gives you that real sort of deep, multi-layered sort of apple flavour. The only problem with that is as the alcohol goes up, the yeast starts to struggle to do a clean ferment. So we add more fermentable sugars at that stage. We then inoculate with a champagne yeast, which has got a really high alcohol tolerance. And then we get up to around the 12% alcohol. Anything becomes a wine after 8% or 8.5%, some people say. So cider essentially is a low alcohol wine, but this is a full wine at 12.
Wow.
It's 12.8% because it picks up another percent in the bottle.
I don't understand much of what you just said there, but it sounds brilliant. Okay, so cheers, everybody.
Cheers. Yeah, good health.
Here we go.
Nice one.
Okay.
And I was just having a sniff there. It's fantastic. It actually does smell like apple champagne. It's got that smell that you sort of get from that those sort of yeasty, toasty notes of champagne, and then you've got that lovely nose of apple on the top.
That is lovely. Is this a good time to say I haven't actually had my lunch yet, so even one sip might be too much for me?
Wow,
That is
that's
beautiful.
lovely, isn't it? Really
So
lovely.
this would make
It
a
is.
great present as well as a nice festive drink to have in the house
Yeah,
over
for
the
sure. It's a
Christmas
it's a
period.
beautiful bottle. We're really happy with it. The illustrations on the front are really cute. And it's got a bright blue foil,
Oh, that is lovely.
and it's got a nice story to it. And I think it's a genuine alternative at these sort of festive times to, sort of imported foreign drinks. So